We are just about 5 weeks into the new year, and already, given all the changes that have gone on, some cards that I've recently applied for, my entire 2026 credit card strategy has already completely changed. I take pride in really trying to map out as best I can an overall strategy well before a new year hits, but things really started to change right at the end of 2025 when Chase had announced some changes to the eligibility for different sign-up bonuses across their business and personal cards. We've also got the brand new Bilt 2.0 credit card lineup. One of them I did end up applying for. Today I want to talk about how I've been able to adapt to some of these changes, what it sort of forced me into in terms of different credit card product changes or new credit card applications. And I'll lay out for you my entire 2026 credit card roadmap for both myself and my wife, who is somewhat on board with applying for cards, so shout out to her. I don't want to waste any time. Let's get right into some of the changes that I've recently made and what my current true credit card setup is at the moment. I had posted a video right at the end of 2025 with which credit cards I thought would truly dominate in terms of the spend that they would each get moving into the new year. When it comes to my original credit card setup for 2026, you can see that if I pop open my wallet here, I'm actually only down to 2 of the credit cards that I talked about in that video that I was truly carrying with me every day and that were getting actually a decent amount of spend. The only 2 cards that have remained in my wallet, one of them, maybe even temporary and maybe coming out soon, is the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant card and the Wells Fargo Attune. As you may have seen in my most recent video, I did end up applying for the brand new Bilt Palladium credit card to replace my Chase Freedom Unlimited as my true dedicated catch-all card. Now, the Freedom Unlimited only earns 1.5x back on everyday spend, but with the Bilt Palladium card, and I broke this down in a ton of detail in that video, not only are you earning a 2x multiplier for every purchase on that card, but you're also receiving Bilt Cash, which is 4% for every dollar spent. The majority, if not all of that, is going to go directly towards earning on my rent payments every month. But with the Bilt Cash that I end up having left over, I will use the point accelerator feature, which is activating using $200, an additional 1x multiplier on that general 2x catch-all category. So while it will not be every month and I will not be able to maximize that, I will have for certain months a general 3x earning catch-all card in the Bilt Palladium. And with getting approved for the Bilt Palladium card, of course, that removes the Chase Freedom Unlimited from the wallet as well. With that transition over to the new Bilt 2.0 credit cards, as an existing Bilt MasterCard holder, I did not accept the product change offer to change this into a Wells Fargo autograph card. Because I'm not accepting that product change, if I ever wanted to apply for the Wells Fargo autograph to be able to earn Wells Fargo rewards, I would still be eligible to receive the sign-up bonus if or when that time ever comes. But for the time being with the Attune, it's mainly right now, since we are in peak winter months right now and there's snow everywhere, it's just getting used for ski lift tickets at different mountains. And I find myself just daydreaming about golf and what it was like in the summertime. So every once in a while, I'll stop by a golf virtual simulator, and this is when I'll pull this card out. Now, when it comes to the Brilliant card, the only reason it's staying in my everyday wallet is for its $25 monthly dining credit. Some of the other cards that have made their way into my everyday credit card setup that will end up getting quite a bit of spend throughout 2026. As of right now, I do currently hold the Chase OG Freedom card. Now, I made a separate video product changing my Chase Sapphire Preferred because it was really not getting used at all. I do hold the Amex Gold card to earn 4x back on both dining and US supermarkets. So with the Chase Sapphire Preferred only offering 3x back on dining, it did have 3x back on streaming services. But outside of the streaming category, my Sapphire Preferred was not getting used hardly at all. I do also hold the Chase Ink Preferred, so by product changing my Sapphire Preferred into the OG Freedom, I will not lose access to Chase's list of transfer partners. But the main reason I wanted to product change is because in Q1 of 2026, one of the rotating quarterly categories on the Chase Freedom Flex or OG Chase Freedom card is dining. So on up to $1,500 in spend for the first 3 months of 2026, you are earning 5x back on dining purchases. Obviously, that beats out the Amex Gold card, which is typically the mainstay in my wallet as my true dedicated dining card. Now, when I product changed the CSP over to the Freedom card, I also ended up product changing my Chase Ink Unlimited card over to the Chase Ink Cash. This is one of those rule changes that Chase had put in place towards the end of 2025, where there's now family language on the Chase Ink Unlimited and Cash cards. So if you've ever applied and received a sign-up bonus on either card, whether it be using your social security number or your EIN number, you're now no longer eligible to receive a sign-up bonus on the other card. So my original plan, if or when I ended up falling below that in 2026, I was going to apply for the Chase Ink Cash. I figured why not just product change my Ink Unlimited, which was literally getting no spend at all. Why not at least get the Ink Cash that I know I could use the 5X internet category on? Taking a look at my current wallet on the credit card blueprint, this is the roadmap tab that you guys are seeing here. Some of the other changes that I recently made as well, at least worth noting, are canceling the American Express Business Platinum card with all the new credits and benefits, and some of the value that I worked out in terms of my effective annual fee with the personal card just made way more sense versus the business. And I also ended up canceling my Delta Platinum business card when that annual fee was set to renew. We also ended up flying Delta both ways for our honeymoon trip when we ended up flying first class. But with it being such a special occasion, I just figured why not use the miles that we ended up having, and the Delta Platinum business was a big part of that. As you get down to the bottom of my wallet, this is actually sorted by approval date. So one of the most recent cards that I added was the Rakuten credit card. The reason I wanted to mention the Rakuten card is because I'm currently spending towards the minimum spend requirement on the sign-up bonus that I received. It was a one-day only welcome offer of $200 after $2,000 in spend in the first 3 months. So with us recently getting married, paying off all those bills, then taking our honeymoon trip where we traveled for 12 days at 5-star resorts. Now, while it was great that we were able to book the trip strictly using points and miles for the most part, those type of trips, especially when you're traveling for that long, can get very expensive, whether it be the food that you're purchasing. If you end up doing some shopping, those dollars add up pretty quick. So now that we're also through that trip and we've just paid off all those credit card bills, so we actually have not been doing our normal online shopping, which would have allowed us to hit the Rakuten welcome offer no problem. With us being a little more conservative, I may end up having to put some everyday spend on the Rakuten card to end up hitting that welcome offer. But this, with it being a no annual fee card, will always be in our core credit card setup, even if it is just used for online shopping through Rakuten. Speaking of Rakuten, that is actually going to be one of the focal points of my 2026 strategy when it comes to being able to earn points and miles. When the partnership between Bilt and Rakuten was announced at the end of 2025, they were offering for the first 6 months a transfer ratio of 1-to-1 when it came to Rakuten cashback over to Bilt Rewards. Now that is expiring in May of 2026. However, if you do hold at least Bilt Silver status, you'll be able to maintain that 1-to-1 transfer rate. Now this of course plays into the Bilt Palladium card, which I was recently approved for. The sign-up bonus on the Palladium is offering 50,000 Bilt Rewards points plus Bilt Gold status after you hit the $4,000 spend in the first 3 months. So it's great that it is included in the welcome offer, and I've actually sort of worked out my numbers going all the way through the end of 2027, just based on the spend that I plan on putting on the Bilt Palladium card. I will be able to maintain at a minimum that silver status. So I've been starting to look for other ways that I can leverage the Rakuten portal and some of the different bonuses that they'll have on there, even outside of their typical online retailers. Things like applying for a Chime checking account, having to deposit just simply $200 and then receiving $250 worth of cash back from Rakuten, which of course I'm converting into Bilt Rewards. So that's an additional 25,000 Bilt Rewards points that will be hitting my account here in just a few weeks. As you may be able to tell, I'm really going all in on earning Bilt Rewards here in 2026, mainly for its extensive list of transfer partners. Now, I definitely do not think that the new Bilt 2.0 or how they're structuring Bilt Rewards when it comes to earning on their cards with your rent or mortgage, how complicated it is with Bilt Cash, I'm not saying that that's a positive change. From Bilt's perspective, I think two things that they accomplished with the refresh is they pushed people towards applying for cards with annual fees at a minimum. I think a lot of people will go for the Obsidian card, but the majority of the applications that I've seen, at least from other creators here on YouTube, is for the Bilt Palladium card. So pushing people towards card with annual fees brings in a new revenue stream for them, but also they're incentivizing you, whether it be with Bilt status, the Bilt Cash earnings, being able to earn enough to be able to activate your rent or mortgage points. They're pushing you towards spending more on these new Bilt credit cards. So by spending more, they will earn more swipe fees and some more profitability, or at least try to course correct from where they're at now and all the money that they ended up costing Wells Fargo. But when you take a look at Bilt's transfer partners, though, this is arguably best in class, with things like being the sole point system that can be transferred over to Atmos Rewards. But they have so many more unique and valuable transfer partners, things like Japan Airlines. I know a lot of people love that. I've never traveled to Asia, so I'm not going to pretend like that's a huge bonus for me. You can also transfer your miles over to Air Portugal or Southwest Airlines. and all the different hotel transfer partners that they have, including Marriott Bonvoy, Hilton Honors, and of course, everyone's favorite World of Hyatt. So just having that way to earn more in Bilt Rewards, whether it be transferring over to some of the different airline or hotel partners, it's just going to give us even more flexibility when it comes to how we plan to redeem for the next trip that we plan on taking. So as you can probably tell by just the number of cards that I've applied for here over the last year or so, I was very aggressive since I first got started in credit cards in 2024, trying to hit welcome offers, using our wedding spend to be able to take the honeymoon that we finally did. But now I'm in a spot where I sort of need to slow down at least a little bit on the personal card side. So when it comes to cards that I want to apply for, like I said, Chase is sort of out of the mix for me, and I really want to try my best to minimize my amount of annual fees because in my own wallet, I'm now approaching $3,000 after getting approved for the Bilt Palladium. So the only two cards that I have set in stone plans of applying for here in 2026 are going to be the American Airlines Platinum Select card and also the Delta Gold Business card. Now, I've talked about that Delta Gold Business and how I think it's truly the perfect fit for me in terms of my long-term Delta credit card strategy. I am very loyal to Delta. I fly with them through work whenever possible. And just going based on some of the credits on the Delta Gold Business card versus the personal, with the additional $50 that you get on the business side with its Delta Stays credit, the free check bags, I just think it's going to be the perfect card and the one that I want to hold over the long term. And with the Platinum Select card from American Airlines, I have received mailers for this card for at least the last 12 months, seemingly every week or so. But the most recent one that I got in the mail was for 85,000 American Airlines points after 4,000 in spend in the first 3 months. Plus, you're also getting its $95 annual fee waived in the first year. Now, with being loyal to Delta, especially on my long range flights, I just enjoy that overall experience more. We are currently near the city of Boston, so flying out of Boston to get back to our home airport back in upstate New York, the only direct option that we have is through American Airlines. So instead of adding cards from the city ecosystem and earning and thank you points and starting to transfer over, have to get the City Strata Premier to be able to transfer those points. So I just want to have those miles in my account for whenever we're ready to make those trips back home. I've been making the drive since we moved out to this New England area, and it is brutal. It's one highway for 6.5 hours. Sometimes around the holidays, that can turn into 8 hours depending on the traffic. So now that I'm into credit card points and miles, I simply had to ask the wife if she'd be okay with maybe packing a little less so we'd have to check less suitcases and then just starting to fly whenever it made sense to do so. So we'll definitely be making that change when it comes to our short range travel here in 2026. Now, I do have my eyes on other cards like the US Bank Cash Plus card, another no annual fee card that could just be a simple plug and play and will allow me to lean into cash back a little bit more the way that I have been doing with the Wells Fargo Attune. The categories that stand out that I would plan on putting spend towards is the home utilities category, and then maybe the department stores or even streaming if we end up getting rid of my wife's Chase Sapphire Preferred, which I'll talk about here in a second. So I think this has some great categories that could immediately get some spend to be able to earn 5% cash back. And not to contradict myself, but who knows, I think I may be best served, at least for right now, as I'm trying to hit that Bilt Palladium sign-up bonus of just putting that spend on that card. But once we've hit that minimum spend requirement, who knows, maybe I will be ready to make another change to this credit card roadmap here for 2026. Going back to the OG Chase Freedom, once we've hit the maximum amount of $1,500 here for the first quarter of 2026, who knows what the next quarterly categories are going to be, but that card will sort of fall into the background, be immediately replaced by my American Express Gold card as my true dedicated dining card again. Speaking of American Express and some other potential changes here in 2026, I do want to cancel the American Express Green card. It's just simply not getting any spend for me. Having the Amex Gold, I don't use its 3x back on dining category. While it does have 3x back on just a general travel, I think that is great. But I have the Chase Ink Preferred card. So that's truly been our sort of Airbnb card, if you want to call it that. With the Gold and or Platinum card, I may end up running the sort of upgrade downgrade strategy throughout 2026 and 2027. With the Amex Platinum Personal card, now this card makes so much sense with some of the credit updates that happened when it was refreshed. I am currently locked into its $695 fee because I applied just a few days before I knew the refresh was happening. But in some more recent news, the Morgan Stanley Platinum card is offering, if you have an E-Trade account, which I already do, the Amex Platinum card but it comes with the ability to get a free authorized user. So keeping that in mind and jumping over quickly to my wife's current credit card setup and her plans here for 2026, we do want to cancel her American Express Business Platinum card. Now, when we end up canceling the Business Platinum, I don't want her losing the lounge access, because now that she's had it and she experienced it for the first time for our honeymoon, it's just something that really neither of us can kind of live without. It's not something I like to place a dollar value on. It's just simply a very nice benefit that you get. So when my annual fee is set to renew at $895 on the personal platinum, I'm starting to think that it may be the better option for me to actually cancel or downgrade this, since I'll already have canceled the Amex Green card, and then go out and apply for the Morgan Stanley Platinum. Now, as you can probably tell just by looking at my wife's current setup, we've done a very good job when it comes to her credit card applications, gardening her Chase 524 status, keeping her setup pretty minimal. Now, she did recently open an LLC, so we will be applying for the Blue Business Plus that she can use truly dedicated using her EIN number for just her business purchases. But outside of that, as I mentioned, with those American Airlines flights that we need to get back to our hometown in Western New York, it's not always the most cost-effective thing to do to book through American Airlines using those miles, which I plan on having in my account by applying for the Platinum Select card. I want her to start building a balance of Atmos rewards points. We recently booked a flight for her. When I'll be traveling out of town, she's going to go back and see her parents, and the value that we got was above 8 cents per point when booking using Atmos rewards, as opposed to just booking using American Airlines AA Advantage miles. By having on her roadmap or the cards that I want her to apply for with the Hawaiian Airlines card, it's a very simple sign-up bonus, and that card is still existing. It just now earns in Atmos rewards, but I've also added the Atmos Ascent card as well. I think just starting up a balance of those Atmos rewards is going to be extremely valuable for us, giving us max flexibility when it comes to however we want to travel. But it will also prevent me, the way that I just did, of using my Bilt Rewards points, transferring those over to Atmos, and then booking the flight for her. Having her start to just rack up a balance of these miles that we know we will use is going to be just another way that we can save our Bilt Rewards points, pool those sort of with Chase if we are looking at a property through Hyatt, and be able to sort of just double up on the transfers that we're putting into my World of Hyatt account. The only other card I could see her targeting or applying for here in 2026 is something like the Chase Freedom Unlimited, with her still being under 524. And I've also seen in years past the Freedom Unlimited offering things like 5x back on gas or grocery for a limited time. If we get a welcome offer like that, it may be worth her grabbing that card just to have it. And with her still below 524 and some of the rules that were put in place, while she did add the Chase Ink Unlimited, so she cannot get the Chase Ink welcome offer, she has not yet applied for the Ink Preferred card. So now, unfortunately, it's just extremely limited on the number of Chase Ultimate Rewards points that you can earn through sign-up bonuses. And going back to American Express and our membership rewards point strategy, just by holding the American Express Gold card and how much that we spend on dining and at grocery stores, we have a very consistent way of earning those Amex MR points. American Express is also notorious for being maybe the most lenient when it comes to credit card approvals and getting their sign-up bonuses and earning points that way. Even in 2025, when I was stuck in Amex pop-up jail for several months, I ended up getting some more cards just with a couple of quick workarounds, and was still able to earn a very nice balance of membership rewards points. Between my wife and I and the current balance that we already have in our MR accounts, we're sitting well above 500,000 Amex MR points. So without any true international travel planned, I don't see us needing any more Amex cards. But if I'm ever targeted for something like the American Express Business Gold elevated sign-up bonus, that's definitely something I would consider. So with already holding all the personal charge cards from Amex, already having the Blue Business Plus, looking at my wife applying for that card as well, and given the current state of our balances right now, we don't need to go all in with Amex here in 2026. And with the new rules in place by Chase, it's much more difficult to earn Ultimate Rewards points, which we do value very highly. But as you saw in my roadmap and my current credit card setup, I essentially am not eligible for any other sign-up bonus through Chase other than the Chase Freedom Flex card, but I won't be under 524 until the end of 2027 anyway. And with the Rakuten Bilt partnership getting approved for the Bilt Palladium card, and just the extremely valuable transfer partner list that Bilt has, this is almost the perfect time here in 2026 for us to go all in with earning Bilt Rewards. So I will say that while I've got a good plan in place, at least I think it is right now, if you guys disagree, let me know down in the comments below. This can all change at the drop of a dime. Anything can happen in the credit card world. Things can get devalued. Cards can just go away, like what happened with the Mesa credit card. Who knows what's going to happen throughout 2026? But as of right now, we are going all in with Bilt Rewards. We also want to diversify with our airline credit card setup by going into the Atmos and American Airlines cards. And by already having a very solid core credit card setup and cards that we can interchange on different months, now having a quarterly earning card with the OG Chase Freedom, we're just now looking at some very niche categories, things like home utilities that I could get the US Bank Cash Plus 5% on. Those are the only other opportunities that we have right now to make our setup even better. Outside of that, if there's other welcome offers like the elevated one that's going on right now with the Delta Gold Business Card, those are things that we'll go out and apply for if we can actually use those points or miles. So while I'd love to actually apply for that elevated Delta Gold business offer that's out there right now, by currently having the Rakuten card, trying to hit that minimum spend, also recently getting approved for the Palladium card, being in the spot now where we really just have to save now that we're through the wedding, through the honeymoon, I unfortunately just don't have the spend to go out and apply for that card. But that's really my overall 2026 credit card roadmap and strategy update. As you can tell, placing a lot of emphasis and focus towards earning and Bilt Rewards. Again, I understand maybe why there was some hate initially, but I think as you start to work out the numbers, if you just simply do the math, run your own spend and or renter mortgage, you can definitely find a way to make these new Bilt 2.0 credit cards work for you. That really does it for this video. I just wanted to say I truly do appreciate every single one of you guys even clicking on and watching this video. If you're looking for some other ways to support the channel, I've got all my links in the description down below. My website's down there. Access to the credit card blueprint, which I was using throughout this video, is on there as well. If you guys end up using any of the referral links or end up purchasing anything, please make sure that you let me know so that I can thank you personally. In the meantime, if you guys want to see how my strategies evolved since first getting started all the way back in 2024, make sure you check out one of the videos that I'll leave on the screen here, and I'll see you over there. Cheers.